Good afternoon, everybody. And on behalf of Temple Health and Bioscience District, I want to thank you all for joining us for our June e-learning series webinar. Today, we're really excited to have Randall Harju, the president of 3DL Design, with us. He has more than 35 years experience in event and trade show marketing. And with the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, Randall learned to pivot quickly to meet marketing needs at the start. Today, he's going to share some insight about the power of video marketing. Before Randall begins the presentation, I'd like to invite everyone to go ahead and mute yourselves to avoid any interruption. However, we'd love to ask you to utilize the chat box, and we'll engage Randy in some Q&A at the end of today's presentation. And with that, Randall, please take it away.
Well, thank you, Mary. Hello and welcome to the Temple Health and Bioscience District webinar series. I'm Randall Harju, your host for today, and my presentation will be using video marketing to empower your business and help to drive your marketing forward. It's no surprise to anybody that we're in a pandemic, and marketing during a pandemic is tough enough, and now we've got COVID-19 to contend with. Many of the early effects of COVID-19 was markets were shifting, stop, or vanish before new ones are emerging. Face-to-face marketing and events came to a very abrupt halt. Every business that was affected really entered into a state of shock. When you're in that state of shock and your market vanished, you say, well, what will be my new product or service now that my market is comatose almost overnight? And what is the date for return? Without being able to answer any of those questions, you pretty much had to come up with a pivot and maybe multiple pivots. And in so doing, you have to quickly begin testing those pivots to see which ones may be gaining traction. The clock is ticking and you've got to develop a plan quickly. What tools are available to communicate your new marketing plan? We're in business-to-business marketing, and the 600-pound or 800-pound gorilla for that is email blasts, which was, for the most part, unaffected by COVID-19. Website, again, something that for the most part was not affected. Business to business and social media seems to be expanding dramatically during the pandemic. But the last one, events, trade shows, experiential events, and product activations, really just went comatose because they cannot host these kind of events right now. They could potentially turn into a super spreading event, the kind of event you don't want to be a part of. Why is video important in marketing? Well, consumers like it because it's easy to digest, entertaining, and engaging. Marketers like it because it can give a potential huge return on investment through many channels. Video is also very accessible to anyone with internet access, both to watch and produce. Tools for video communication. They include custom crafted emails, just a normal email, but with a hyperlink to a video, including embedded or hyperlinked video into email blasts, using LinkedIn, Facebook, and social media to propel a video, your website, webinars such as this one. YouTube channels are are growing and will continue to grow with streaming, not only for entertainment, but for just video in general. YouTube is just rocking it right now. Some of the devices that you would be viewing video on would be your cell phone, a tablet, or just your monitor. What is a video marketing strategy? Brands need a video marketing strategy. This idea isn't new. What has changed is how important video has become on every platform and channel. Video is no longer just one piece of your overall marketing plan. It's central to your outreach and campaign efforts, especially your social strategy. Video has absolutely dominated social. You see it everywhere. You see it on YouTube, you see it on Facebook, LinkedIn, just a myriad amount of social media. Video marketing strategy. HubSpot research shows that 4 of the top 6 channels on which global consumers watch video are social channels. Why is this important? If you aren't creating video, you're likely falling behind. But don't fret, for most videos, the more simple and raw it is, the more authentic the content seems, and that's what really matters to your audience. One of the methods of deployment is email. You can host the video on YouTube, Vimeo, or embed it directly into your website for access. You set a keyword or image as a hyperlink to the video. The blast can go through MailChimp, Constant Contact, or any of the blast services of your choice. On your website, you can use video to introduce your company, product, or service right away. Could be an explainer video, a key product demo animation, or how did we get here and what's the solution? You can host the video on YouTube, Vimeo, or similar hosting service, and again, set a keyword or image as a hyperlink to the video. Webinars. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, video can be immeasurable. Video can help to drive detailed information of a labored or dry subject. Custom crafted emails. Personal emails with the added touch of video, hyperlinks will strengthen your message as appropriate. LinkedIn, Facebook, and social media. Daily posting keeps you visibly active in your industry and underscores you're engaged. You can't be asleep at the wheel. Video links are easy to post, especially in LinkedIn, real easy. YouTube, streaming is firmly rooted as how video is served in the year 2020. A YouTube channel is a must. Great place to store and access both videos you've produced and relevant videos produced by others. Current standard definition for a video is 1080 or 1920 by 1080 pixels. Tips and tricks for a good video. This will always be an ever-learning thing. Just when you think you've learned a new trick, a new one comes along. There are many ways to capture sound in video. Camera phone, inside of a studio, using a basic video cam, using an elevated piece of equipment like a Blackmagic pocket cinema cam, stage, shop, offsite, and onsite. Post-editing and effects is where the magic is. Why have an explainer video? They get to the point quickly, usually within 60 to 90 seconds. They make good use of color and movement to catch and hold the viewer's attention. They incorporate the elements of good storytelling to keep the viewer watching to the end. How to use video technology to your advantage. Multiple streams and connections are available in today's connective world. Hosting your video on YouTube, you can propel it through some of the other social media right through YouTube. The YouTube shift. Streaming has removed the boundaries of mixing entertainment, news, professional, and social interests. When a movie ends, let's say you're sitting at home and you're done with your popcorn and your soda and the movie ends, you can flip to a video or genre of videos that interests you. YouTube has a great channel selection mode that you can just subscribe to a YouTube channel and pluck it from there. How do you spread a YouTube video? Get the SEO right. To begin with, utilize the tools that are available straight through YouTube. Incorporate a call to action. Utilize annotations. Put it in a playlist. Use hashtags. Enable embeds. Collaborate with other YouTube creators. Try the AdWords for video program. 8 tips on building YouTube subscribers. Post useful and quality content consistently. Name your video strategically. Spruce up your channel design. Show your lighter side. Shoot in various locations. Create a custom thumbnail. Use annotations and ask for subscribers. Why are videos a big trend for 2020? On existing social media sites, videos rank higher than any other post type because they naturally encourage engagement from viewers. As video continues to rank as one of the most important overall digital marketing trends, you can expect to see even more ways that these platforms favor or prioritize this content type. How effective are marketing videos? Well, convenient and efficient for the consumer, video marketing provides marketers with an attractive, versatile, and extremely shareable medium to reach their audience. In fact, Diode Digital recently found that online video is a 600% more effective marketing tool than print and direct mail combined. That is the conclusion of my formal presentation. We could open it up to Q&A right now and just have running dialogue, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that works great. And Randall, I want to thank you first and foremost for the presentation. I actually have a few questions, so I'm happy to kind of kick it off and
Sure.
welcome others to join us as we go along. I guess my first question is, early on in the presentation, you talked about sort of the authenticity of videos and how those do perform pretty well on social channels.
Right.
So as businesses are kind of assessing their capabilities and what they can produce, is there any advice you can give in terms of whether businesses should go for a raw video or a more produced video?
We've always done produced video where the content wasn't, so to speak, raw content that you see a lot of on LinkedIn these days. I tend to believe, at least from my perspective, that the jury is still out on that one. You just see an abundance of raw video for obvious reasons. It doesn't cost anything. If you're a compelling speaker, or if you project well on camera, well, that actually might be a great medium. But not everyone is like that. Not everyone projects well, and not everyone is a good speaker. And in those instances, it makes a lot of sense to at least put a measure of production into it. At least that's my opinion. It's not borne out with fact, because I think a lot of the facts are being assembled almost daily at this point.
Sure. Another question that I had, just kind of going through my notes, is you talked for a moment about embedding video in different
Right.
formats. I think in your blast email marketing, as well as in the website. Is there a particular reason for that?
If you can embed it in, then the video stays within your website. You're not taking it outside the boundaries of the website. I spoke with a gentleman recently that we had not embedded the video into a email blast. And not everyone is digitally proficient at this point. Some of the challenges are pretty strange, meaning they don't even know where they are in their own browser. and I can sometimes relate to that, but to continue the dialogue that I had with this prospect, and it had taken him outside of the email blast. He couldn't get back into it again, and it was a real technical challenge trying to explain to somebody over the phone that probably hasn't had much to do with YouTube and social media and navigating around, where it was a real challenge just to get him back to the original site again. And if you can avoid that, that would be a good thing, because you don't know the technical expertise of who you're going to be engaging with.
Right. And so keeping them on your site versus directing them away.
Right. Trying to keep it as simple, for being a technical product, trying to keep it as simple as possible. Sure. Because you're gonna reach, it's going to benefit you to do so, because what you may accept as common knowledge, not everyone else has common knowledge.
And to that point, we actually just got a question about the technical aspect of that. How do you embed a video, a YouTube video, for example?
Justin?
Let's get the AV expert on.
Below a YouTube video, there's generally an option that says share. And if you click on that, then you should be able to copy and paste it into wherever you are trying to send it.
Sure. So the same way that you would essentially click on a video to share it to Facebook or Twitter, etc., there's an option to copy the embed code, and that's
generally speaking,
right into the website.
Right. And then another question we've got about, I think, the intro and explainer videos.
Okay.
The typical length of those, I think you said, was about 60 to 90 seconds.
It makes a lot of sense to keep it 60 to 90 seconds. People's attention span drifts away pretty quickly, and unless you're very, very engaged with the content, you're it would be too easy to shift and say, well, I've had enough viewing of this video. I think I'm going to move on. Where
Sure.
you have to tell the story quickly, and let's say the story is too large to do it in a minute and a half. Well, then you almost need to create almost like a large overview of the subject matter, and then do additional videos to really zoom in on some detail. Here I will say, after being punished by COVID-19 in March, I looked at a lot of video, a ton of video in regards to UVC lighting, far UVC lighting, and I had a great desire to learn about it. So I would continue to watch the video pretty much all the way until the end. A couple of them, I think I fell asleep watching. But if you can, the ideal thing is to try to get to the information quickly. I think to let it just drone on and on is not a good production method.
So if you have a large amount of subject matter, it sounds like unless it's for a very select target audience, as in the example that you just mentioned, we should really be breaking into smaller segments that are really topic focused.
That are really smaller, bite-sized nuggets of what you want to convey, and it also it gives a great reason for someone to continue to watch your videos. You're pretty much leading them into the next video.
Sure, which obviously is a cool feature that you mentioned, YouTube, and it's soaring popularity right now.
YouTube is perfect for that. It's a perfect mechanism for that, because the way they've managed the platform, where you can assemble playlists according to particular subjects, and then assemble your smaller bite-sized nugget videos within those playlists, and populate them in a manner of where you can set the progression of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting. After near the end of March, I went through our client list to see who was using YouTube in a highly developed way for messaging, and it was pretty mixed. You had companies that perhaps would be in business for 80 years with hardly any activity, because they're not using it in that manner. Mm-hmm. Then you'd have another company that would have 14,000 subscribers, and they're putting up video almost weekly. It seems in the year 2020, if you're wanting to develop a message like that, that would be the way to go. It doesn't really have to be weekly, but you should at least do 4 a year, probably, quarterly.
Sure. So I think the message there is to establish a frequency goal.
Correct.
And then stick to it, because like so many other things with marketing, consistency seems to be key. When your subscribers know that your monthly newsletter comes, when they see it, not only are they surprised that they're unsurprised when they see it, they're generally happy that they get their monthly touch point from you.
Right. It becomes part of the routine almost.
Mm-hmm.
And
and to that end, we have another question, Randall.
Sure.
We actually have two questions, one of which I think I can help answer, about making sure when you are embedding those videos in your website and in your email, that those are coming from videos you've uploaded to a YouTube channel. That's the route we think people should go, right?
It should be like that. You know, we've hosted, and we host on Vimeo as well. And YouTube is their algorithms are set to move you into another video that right after you've watched the video, and here there's little tricks where you can do an end screen after that to stop it. I think that might even be a new feature, okay? And that was one of the reasons why initially we were doing Vimeo, because Vimeo gave you a stronger measure of control. But then we had to move out of Vimeo in the beginning of April because Vimeo was being overloaded with people in companies uploading their videos, and you don't want to be waiting 2.5 hours to upload your video.
Right. So one platform essentially was prepared for that surge.
I don't think any platform was prepared for the surge.
But YouTube has been able to sort of weather it.
YouTube is probably more robust. Their equipment, the way they've organized the information and the data, it seems like they're just the quintessential sponge of videos that you could. I've never had a problem uploading a video to YouTube. Why don't I just say that? It's as simple as it gets, and maybe that's why I continue to use it.
Well, that's a good reason. And to that point, as businesses and individuals are working to develop, kind of that robust YouTube channel for their online presence, is there a recommendation of how many videos should be on a website? Is there too much? Is there such a thing as too much or too little?
It depends on how it's all organized and what the content is. I would say that whatever video that you put up there, it should really have authentic content. It shouldn't be up there just to fulfill a quota that you're trying to hit. I seem to see a lot of that on LinkedIn, where a person is every day launching a video, but what are they really talking about? What are they really saying? Is there any meat in this, or are they just regurgitating information that they said yesterday? And maybe there's a point to all that I don't understand. But I look at it as there really is no limit. Anything that is archaic, where perhaps is no longer relevant. Maybe it was relevant 2 or 3 years ago, but things have changed. Well, if you don't want to delete it, you can hide it then on YouTube, where it's still up there, but nobody can view it. And I think editing those things, going through your videos and making sure that the information is still relevant is real important, because to have old video that's no longer relevant is not going to help your brand at all. It's just gonna hurt you.
I think that's a great point, and something that marketers and other, members of the business community can overlook sometimes when you start to get in the habit of going through the tasks at hand, right? It's easy
Right.
to assume that the content that you have already created is evergreen when that's not always the case. So sort of putting that into your marketing strategy, having routine checkups of your video content as well as your website and other content to make sure that's still the message you want to be sending, that's an accurate portrayal of your business.
Right. One of the things that I did in March, and again, before March 2nd, we were, I'm going to say 95% trade show oriented. So when I looked at our 3DL Design YouTube channel, I looked at some of the videos on there and I'm like, boy, these are so old and no longer relevant. Why are these up here? So I edited those, and then I gave the channel a fresh look. To look at the way the channel appears to others is really a good thing, because again, what might have been relevant 8 years ago as an image maybe doesn't project well in the year 2020 right now. And actually, when I updated our YouTube channel, that propelled me to look at all of our clients' YouTube channels and subscribe to all of them, but at the same time see what they're doing or not doing. And then I sent them all an email saying, I recently reviewed your YouTube channel, either great job or it might need a little work, and perhaps we could assist you. having updated our own.
That's great. Careful eyes are always good when you're talking about putting your brand image and persona out into the world.
You don't know in a company who is actually having to do the maintenance on the channel. Is it someone in marketing? Is it someone who's been delegated to do it that really doesn't want to do it and doesn't know the reasons why to do it? So you have a whole mix of what would one say, YouTube managers out there that where perhaps they might have done it at the beginning because they said, well, we have to do it. We have to have something up there. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was 10 years ago. And nobody's looked at it since then, where it's not the case right now. It really is. With streaming, you didn't have streaming like 10 years ago like you do right now, where you could be 10 years ago, you weren't streaming through your television at home. Maybe some people were, but I wasn't. And I was using straight up cable. Well, you're not, 10 years ago, you weren't going to switch from straight up cable to YouTube to watch something on YouTube. Just wasn't going to happen. But now in the year 2020, where streaming is the way, YouTube is so accessible that you could be watching some Disney content or Marvel content on Disney, and afterwards you switch to let's say a news subscription to catch the highlights of the day and quickly filter through the stories. And that's one of the great things about like a YouTube channel, where you can filter through things pretty quickly. You don't have to stay with your selection. If you've had enough of it, you could just quickly exit out and move on to another subject.
Sure.
It gives you a lot of visual mobility. Why don't I just say that?
I think that's a good point. And we have successfully addressed the questions from our attendees today. So I think the message to kind of drive home for folks to leave this particular session with is assess your marketing needs, especially as they've pivoted, and probably go check out your YouTube channel and make sure it's a current representation of your brand. And if it's not, you have some homework to do.
Right. I would overwhelmingly agree with you.
Well, Randall, we want to thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your experience and your expertise with us.
And thank you for allowing me to host today. I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for having us, for doing this. We appreciate it. Stay safe,
Tammy,
everyone.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.